Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
Otherwise, how coincidental could it be for him to end up in the room next door? Ezekiel took out his phone in the adjacent room and dialed his assistant's number. "Get me a spot on the red carpet for tomorrow's fashion week." "Mr. Weiss, are you also planning to walk the red carpet?" "I'm taking someone with me," Ezekiel replied. After the passionate night between Catalina and Ruben in the luxurious confines of a five-star hotel, he devoted himself entirely to her as he lay in bed with her. Although he was merely deemed a useless man who had to use his body to climb up the ranks, he cared little for such judgments. Instead, he was driven solely by pursuing a promising future. Catalina, somewhat content with Ruben's performance that night, smiled and spoke, "Ruben, I can't wait to see Harmony's downfall. I have my internet ghostwriters ready. Once her video gets back to Dansbury, we'll spread it widely. With her ability, she won't stand a chance against the public backlash. Let's sit back and watch the entire internet turn against her." Ruben, kissing her cheek, complimented, "You're remarkable, sweetheart. Harmony is no match for you. You should show some effort, too. Improve your acting skills so you can handle and won't miss out on the roles I secure for you," scolded Catalina. Since Ruben was a gigolo, he had no choice but to endure her treatment with a grin. Even if he didn't like hearing such words, he clung to Catalina playfully as he murmured, "Okay, I'll improve my acting skills so I don't disappoint my lovely wife." Catalina, a connoisseur of men, affectionately patted him with a smile. "Good. I'll be waiting for the day you win the Best Actor award. On that day, I'll be your true wife." The smile on Ruben's face froze momentarily. The Best Actor award was still far from his reach, and he had no noteworthy works under his belt. On the contrary, Harmony had unexpectedly secured the Best Female award this year, casting him in the shadow of her apparent success. This made him look as incompetent as her boyfriend. This was one of the reasons Ruben held disdain for Harmony. She made him the subject of ridicule among those people who deemed him inferior to her. Of course, he wouldn't show these feelings before falling out with Harmony. However, when Harmony kissed and hugged another man in front of him that day, it was as if the darker side he had hidden all this while had burst forth. He resented it all. He wanted Harmony out of the industry, forced back to the low-level status from which she had emerged, with no place to stand in this circle. Ruben fantasized about the day he would have a standing in the industry. Once that happened, Harmony, who was desperate for survival, would come crawling to him, much like a beggar seeking mercy. Ever since she was orphaned and alone, she had no one in her corner with both parents gone. With a background like hers, wasn't she practically destined to be a target for mistreatment? As a second-generation star with parents of prominent status in the industry, Catalina initially had set her sights on clinching a prestigious jewelry advertisement. Yet, Harmony emerged out of nowhere, snatching the coveted brand from under her nose and turning her into a laughingstock within her social circles. At this moment, Catalina's viewpoint allowed her an unobstructed view of the colossal screen displaying the scrolling advertisement. As she observed Harmony's graceful figure, Catalina tightly grasped her glass of red wine. The spotlight of that advertisement, so dazzling in the eyes of the public, should have rightfully belonged to her. Ruben, emerging from the bed to encircle her waist, rested his face on her shoulder. "Let's go to sleep." "I can't sleep," Catalina replied with a touch of indifference. Ruben lifted his head to check her expression in response. His gaze followed hers to the distant advertisement screen, where Harmony's silhouette appeared. The intense surge of passionate emotions he had just vented on Catalina rushed back. Ruben harbored a complex mix of love and unfulfilled desire towards Harmony. Over the years, Harmony had firmly held her ground, refusing to give in. She insisted on reserving her first time for marriage. Now, Ruben couldn't help but feel that he had been played for a fool. Why had he shown her so much respect? Now that he had lost her, he realized that the platonic love affair they had had for 5 years was too much of a loss. Of course, He hadn't been idle privately and had pursued several young models while she was busy with her career. At that moment, Reuben silently contemplated, "One day, I'll make you beg to return to my side, Harmony. In this life, I'll only be content once I've slept with you." Sarah had already succumbed to slumber as the night unfolded in the hotel. Meanwhile, Harmony found herself grappling with insomnia. With Ezekiel staying in the next room, the thought of him just beyond the wall made her wonder what he was doing. Is he asleep? Then, she unexpectedly caught a faint sound of running water from the adjacent room. The hotel's soundproofing was poor, so the sound of someone showering next door had somehow seeped through the cracks. A soft chuckle escaped Harmony's lips. Then, she glanced at the time. It was already 1 a.m. Yet, this man was only taking a shower now. What's he doing? Could it be? A mischievous notion crept into Harmony's mind. Her cheeks flushed with warmth as her mind ran wild. Still, she couldn't halt the swirling thoughts and vivid scenarios that danced through her imagination. Men and their antics were no mystery to her. This was also thanks to her early entry into the industry and acting career. Can it be that this man is indulging himself? Harmony quickly reined in her wandering thoughts as fantasizing about him in this way felt a tad inappropriate. In the next room, Ezekiel was indeed taking a shower. He had just wrapped up a meticulous review of the latest investment plan. So, time had slipped through his fingers when he was immersed in his work. Before he knew it, it had already gotten this late. As for Harmony, she wasn't sure when she had finally drifted off to sleep. She was entangled in a dream, soaring through the air and eventually floating into Ezekiel's window, peering in just as he prepared to shed his garments. Just as she was about to see what Ezekiel had under the sheets, her soul was forcefully dragged back into her body. Sarah had shaken her in an attempt to rouse her from her slumber. "Harmony, wake up. It's late. We need to head over for the photo shoot." How could Harmony bear to wake up just like that? Her eyelids remained shut as she pleaded, "Sarah, give me another 2 minutes. Let me sleep a bit more, just a bit." After that, she immediately plunged back into the fantasy, trying to return to that enticing scene. Just as she teetered on the brink of once again reveling in the allure of that handsome physique, Sarah, unsparing in her resolve, heartlessly shook her awake. "You don't have time to sleep. Get your butt out of the bed. My goodness. You still need to get dressed." Harmony blinked her eyes open, sitting up as disappointment overwhelmed her. She was somewhat baffled about her current surroundings as she tried to make sense of reality once more. That dream from last night really wore her out. It felt like she struggled all night just to glimpse Ezekiel's physique. What an utterly absurd dream. Just then, a knock on the door interrupted them. Sarah blurted in confusion, "Could it be Mr. Weiss from next door?" Harmony swiftly burrowed back into the covers and buried her face in the blanket. She urgently told Sarah, "Whatever you do, please don't let him in, Sarah." She didn't want him to see her in this ghastly state early in the morning. Sarah opened the door in amusement. Sure enough, the refreshingly charming Ezekiel was standing right there. She greeted him with a warm smile, "Mr. Weiss, good morning." "Good morning. I have something to attend to. Here's my business card. Let Miss Mayo know I'll see her on the red carpet at 3 p.m. "Of course, thank you so much, Mr. Weiss. Take care." Sarah happily accepted his business card and saw him off to the elevator. Then, she joyfully kissed the golden business card after watching him leave. Now, neither of them would face the embarrassment of getting chased off the red carpet. Sarah quickly scanned Ezekiel's business card, a simple display of a Chinese company's name with Ezekiel Weiss in parentheses below it. Beneath it, a personal phone number added an air of significance despite its simple design. Harmony naturally overheard Ezekiel's words. His deep, magnetic voice resonated forcefully in her heart. As she reflected on her dream from the previous night, she couldn't help but find her attitude inappropriate. "Wake up, my lady. Look, Mr. Weiss personally gave you his business card." He's looking forward to your red carpet journey with him this afternoon. Sarah dragged her off the bed. At this moment, Sarah couldn't help but wish she were 20 years younger. Youth and romance. Harmony took the golden card that felt more like lacquered gold than paper. Sarah, who is he exactly? Harmony asked curiously. Isn't there writing on it? It should be the name of his company. Still, I have to confess, I've never heard of this company's name before, Sarah admitted, her knowledge limited even to globally renowned enterprises. Hurry up and save his number on your phone, lest you won't be unable to find him when you walk the red carpet in the afternoon, Sarah urged her. Harmony grabbed her phone and saved Ezekiel's number. She also placed his name card inside the pocket of her purse as a souvenir. Later, Harmony went to a dress rental store Sarah had made an appointment with. As this store had some off-season collections from various big fashion brands, it was frequented by many artists. If one was lucky, they could even get the ones from the current fashion season. It was just that the rental fee was pricey compared to the off-season ones. This time, Sarah decided to spend $75,000 to doll Harmony up. She chose an off-season evening dress from a fashion brand. After Harmony tried it on, she took her to go shopping nearby. Since the red carpet event would start at 3 p.m., they didn't have to rush. After all, the venue of the Fashion Week was just nearby. Thus, Harmony and Sarah took the opportunity to shop in the mall. As Sarah usually liked buying bags from high-end clothing brands, she couldn't bring herself to move away when she saw a bag that caught her eye. When Harmony saw that Sarah was staring at an item displayed in a high-end fashion store, Harmony couldn't help but remind her, "Sarah, you have yet to pay off your car and house loans. It's better not to look at these." Sarah took her words into consideration before coming to a decision. Then, she dragged Harmony along as she said, "Let's take a look. There's nothing illegal about browsing. So, just take it as window shopping for fun." Hence, Sarah pulled Harmony into the store. However, they bumped into their enemies, Ruben and Catalina, as soon as they entered the store lounge. At this moment, Ruben was accompanying Catalina as they sat on the lounge chairs. Catalina immediately spotted the two who entered the store through her keen eyesight. Wow! It seems that shops really let anyone in nowadays. Since Sarah didn't expect to encounter them today, she held Harmony's hand and said, "Harmony, let's leave." Some people have the courage to enter when they can't even afford to purchase a single item. How embarrassing, Catalina mocked once more. Harmony took a deep breath upon hearing Catalina's disdainful words. Then, she turned around and retorted, "It's none of your business. Harmony, I know damn well about your financial status. You can't afford any of the bags here," Ruben sneered out of the blue. Harmony had spent nearly all her money on the apartment she just bought. What's more, she took out a loan of $450,000. Her apartment's monthly mortgage is enough to force her to keep signing contracts for terrible drama roles. "Ruben, I didn't know you have a sugar addiction as I wasn't wealthy enough to be your sugar mommy before. However, I suppose your sugar addiction is satisfied now." "Why?" "Because you have the sweetest sugar mommy beside you," Harmony snapped mercilessly. Ruben's face instantly reddened with anger. "Harmony, what the hell are you blabbering about?" he shouted, losing his gentlemanly temperament. Sarah forcefully dragged Harmony out of the store. "Ignore them. Let's just continue with our shopping spree." Truthfully, Harmony wanted to find a coffee shop to rest her legs because she hadn't slept well the night before. Meanwhile, Ruben's face remained reddened with anger. Catalina's eyes were filled with a hint of disgust as she jerked her head away from him. Even so, she couldn't afford to dump Ruben for now because he had just signed a contract with her mother's company. He had even signed some contracts for several drama roles. "Don't worry. She will be humiliated on the red carpet later," Catalina comforted him. Ruben held back his resentment and nodded. "How dare Harmony make me look bad in front of Catalina? I definitely won't spare her if I have the chance to humiliate her in the future." At this moment, Ezekiel returned to the 7-star hotel and was discussing the affairs regarding the cooperative deal with his client. Yet, he couldn't help but sneak glances at his watch while he was having lunch with the client. It seemed like he had something important that he couldn't pass up. "Mr. Weiss, I'll let you get on with your work then," the client spoke with a smile after noticing his anxious state. Ezekiel nodded, rose to his feet, and said, "I'll treat you to a meal again next time." Then, he trotted outside. It's already 2:00 p.m., and the red carpet walk will start from 3:00 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Celebrities won't be able to walk the red carpet if they fail to arrive at the venue on time. "Mr. Weiss, there's no need to rush. The time rule doesn't apply to us. We will walk the red carpet when we make it there." Miles, Ezekiel's assistant, comforted him. "I have promised to meet her at 3:00 p.m. What if I'm late and she has walked the red carpet without me?" Ezekiel said, his good-looking face actually tinged with worry. Hence, Miles had no choice but to immediately arrange for the convoy to set off and head along the road toward the Fashion Week's venue. As for the situation at the venue, grand preparations were already in progress. Besides, there was a particularly eye-catching red carpet rolled down the middle, which was exclusively available for invited celebrities. The total length was about 984 feet, and the artistic decorations on both sides portrayed a sense of statutory declaration. Currently, journalists from all over the world were present as they readied their equipment. They already had their cameras on standby, ready to take the best pictures to hit their target for the month. After all, the celebrities who could walk this red carpet this evening stood for their identity and status in the film and television industry. Since the red carpet event also acted as a large-scale fashion show, whereby fashion designers from around the world would gather and showcase their masterpieces, those who could walk the red carpet were undoubtedly the top international celebrities. So, it wouldn't be an understatement to claim that these individuals were the best celebrities available from various countries. Catalina only had the chance to walk the red carpet this evening because her mother had received 2 invitations. Hence, she could afford to take Ruben with her. Moreover, she was inclined to turn him into a top celebrity. The bodyguards were also very busy today. Moreover, they had to prevent random, uninvited celebrities from trespassing and piggybacking on the significance of the red carpet. Still, several celebrities tried their luck to walk a few steps on the red carpet. It didn't even matter if they got kicked out, as the photos they uploaded to their social media accounts to keep their fans in their home country posted would still cause a massive stir. Ezekiel's convoy suddenly rolled to a stop. The road was so packed with cars that their group couldn't get through. So, his car was sandwiched between them. "What's going on?" Ezekiel frowned. "Mr. Weiss, we're stuck in traffic congestion," Miles immediately reported. Ezekiel glanced through the car window upon hearing that. Then, he glanced at his watch and saw that it was already 2:50 p.m. "How much longer?" Ezekiel asked, growing impatient. "It's unclear at the moment. Mr. Weiss, please be patient." Just then, he discovered through the car window that a lot of people who were stuck in the traffic got out of their cars and walked. Therefore, he couldn't help but frown, asking, why are these people getting out of their cars and walking? The venue of the Fashion Week isn't far from here. It's only 0.62 miles away. They probably plan to walk there, Miles explained lightly. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard the sound of the car door being pushed open behind him. When he turned around and saw what happened, he couldn't help but jump in his seat, yelling, "Mr. Weiss! Mr. Weiss!" He immediately followed suit, exited the car, and saw Ezekiel sauntering down the sidewalk. The bodyguards, who were in the car behind them, instantly got out as well. Followed Ezekiel while Miles quickly kept up. Ezekiel followed the crowd and walked toward the Fashion Week's venue. At this moment, by the fountain 164 feet away from the red carpet, Harmony looked at the time and asked Sarah, "He will come, right?" "Don't worry. I believe he will be here." Harmony observed the large crowd that was approaching the venue. Among them were fans, journalists, celebrities, and several managing teams. The grand yet regal scene had turned into a completely chaotic mess. Even though the event management had done their best in terms of crowd control, and the spot they currently stood was only strictly for those with a work pass, it was still overcrowded. With celebrities and staff from all over the world taking up a great deal of space, those relatively famous celebrities in Dansbury were merely passers-by here. As Harmony wore an oversized trench coat with nothing but an evening dress underneath, she couldn't help but shiver as soon as the chilly breeze brushed against her skin. Honestly, she was fairly certain that she looked rather disheveled at the moment. To make matters worse, she had stumbled upon Catalina and Ruben, who had just exited the car and passed by, instead of Ezekiel. Catalina wore the latest haute couture red dress with some delicate makeup, exuding an extraordinarily noble vibe. She was holding Ruben's arm, who also wore a haute couture suit, and walked up to Harmony proudly like a peacock. What a coincidence! I can't believe I would bump into you here. See that red carpet? I will walk on it gracefully while holding Ruben's arm soon enough. As for an unimportant celebrity like you, well, you can't do anything besides watch us walk the red carpet with envy, Catalina said, attempting to provoke Harmony. Don't get carried away, Catalina. Harmony still has plenty of room for development. She will walk this red carpet as well, Sarah retorted. Huh. You can't even get your hands on good movie roles now. Yet, you're still dreaming about your future prospects? Sarah, do you honestly think I don't know your real status in this industry? You're nothing but someone who used to be my mom's subordinate, Catalina refuted mercilessly. An enraged Harmony said, Catalina, please learn to respect others. Listen here, Harmony. Anyone who dares to rob me of my endorsement deals always suffers a miserable ending. You are not the exception to that rule. Do expect to get spurned once you return to Dansbury. Harmony, aren't you the best at claiming ties with the big shots? So, where's this big shot of yours? Ruben asked as a flicker of disdain flashed in his eyes. Harmony bit her rosy lips and looked at the man she once loved. At this moment, his words had somehow morphed into imaginary blades that were stabbing her all over. How the hell did I even fall for this man? I really was blind back then. Once Catalina had enough fun bullying Harmony and Sarah, she took Ruben's arm and said, let's go. We shouldn't waste time here. Our time is precious today. After that, she glanced at the woman wearing a hat and signaled her to follow Harmony closely and capture her situation today. As long as she had those pictures in hand, she could later create some negative publicity about Harmony in Dansbury. After Catalina and Ruben left, Harmony turned to comfort Sarah, who had once worked for Catalina's mother's company. Sarah had opted to work freelance after being oppressed by Catalina's mother. Honestly, she had to admit that Catalina was truly her mother's daughter. Sarah, don't take their words too seriously, Harmony soothed gently. Sarah shook her head. Don't worry about me. Then, she looked toward the congested line of cars that wouldn't seem to budge anytime soon. A sense of unease crawled into her heart. Could Mr. Weiss also be stuck there? If so, he might not be able to make it in time. Harmony was also feeling rather worn out after standing under the chilly breeze. As a result, she started sneezing a few times. As the temperature dropped, she couldn't help but think that she might just catch a cold if she kept loafing around here doing nothing. Are you okay? Just hold on a little longer, Sarah said to her. Under the sub-zero weather, many celebrities, eager for glamorous photos during Fashion Week, would wear thin yet fancy dresses. Then, they would later rely on their assistants to provide them with warm clothes after the photo shoots. Sarah also felt a sense of disappointment. She worked hard to boost the popularity of her artists and tried to elevate them to better positions. Alas, in this era where fame was crucial, she had no choice but to wait in the cold as well. Sarah, let's just go. He probably can't make it, Harmony suggested to Sarah. Sarah instinctively scanned the crowd nearby as she swept her gaze through the unmoving line of cars. Judging from the terrible traffic, even A-list celebrities would have to get out of their cars and walk over. Meanwhile, the red carpet had already started. International top models and celebrities, adorned in dazzling gowns, braved the early spring chill and paraded down the red carpet. When Sarah looked toward the red carpet, two artists had seized the opportunity to sneak onto the stage for photos before security caught sight of them. Although they were promptly chased away, the artists managed to capture some red carpet shots. Harmony witnessed their endings as she held Sarah back firmly, saying, "Sarah, don't make me go up there. I don't want to." In that case, Sarah had no choice but to place her hopes on Ezekiel. She looked toward the crowd instinctively and spotted a distinguished figure. He wasn't a star, but he exuded an extraordinary aura. He stood out like a sore thumb, especially with an entourage of tall bodyguards. "Harmony, look. It's Mr. Weiss," Sarah exclaimed. Harmony's long hair was slightly windswept due to the cold breeze. So, she had to reach out to tidy her hair before she noticed a figure walking toward them from the crowd. Who else could it be if not Ezekiel Weiss? She looked at him in disbelief and then turned to Sarah, asking, "Sarah, he didn't come here on foot, did he?" Sarah nodded in response. "It seems like it." For the first time, Harmony felt a sense of being valued by someone. Yet, she had only met this stranger twice. "He really came," she muttered, feeling pleasantly surprised. On the other hand, Sarah exclaimed joyfully, "When you walk the red carpet with Mr. Weiss later, let's give those two a good slap in the face." Although the inner square where they were waiting was crowded, Ezekiel spotted Harmony in the crowd at a glance. She wore a black down jacket and appeared inconspicuous among the fashionable crowd. Still, the gaze he cast upon her was filtered with intense affection. It didn't matter where she was, as he could spot her immediately. He was so focused that he had even managed to somehow ignore the comings and goings around him. Sarah led Harmony to meet Ezekiel and his entourage. Then, she blurted enthusiastically, "I didn't expect you to show up, Mr. Weiss. I'm a man of my word." Ezekiel smirked as his gaze shifted toward Harmony. His voice carried strength and weight, leaving no room for doubt. Harmony's face, cold and pale from the freezing wind, became tinged with a hint of blush under his gaze. "Mr. Weiss, I'll leave Harmony to your capable hands. Please take her to the red carpet for some photos and make an appearance," Sarah said. "Sure. Just leave it to me." Ezekiel nodded, adding, "I've arranged for Miss Mayo to watch the Fashion Week runway show. So, we might leave later than expected." This statement caught Sarah off guard momentarily. Nonetheless, she quickly snapped back to her senses and happily replied, "No problem. I'll wait for you outside." Harmony was also astonished by this sudden turn of events. How did she get the privilege to watch the runway? Just how influential was Ezekiel? Tickets for such events were not easy to come by. "Miles, make the arrangements. We're leaving." Ezekiel instructed his assistant. "Got it. I'll inform them of your attendance," Miles responded. Harmony and Sarah arrived at the entrance under Ezekiel's lead. Miles immediately gave them a thumbs-up gesture. Then, Sarah told Harmony, "Harmony, give it your all. Now pass me your coat." Harmony nodded and took off her outer coat, revealing a simple yet elegant long-sleeved evening dress. An elegant scarf accentuated her gorgeous collarbone, and her beautifully shaped cleavage could be seen at certain angles. Ezekiel felt his heart pound as she took her coat off. Although he had already watched her starring in an Asian film and had taken the chance to admire her grace in traditional clothing, he realized that she was equally stunning in an evening gown. Sarah was escorted out by security. Just then, Catalina's assistant, who was instructed to stay behind, made an urgent call to Catalina. "Hello? What's going on? Did you get the shot?" "Catalina, Harmony is about to walk the red carpet, and someone is taking her up soon," the assistant reported. "What? How is that possible?" Catalina, still arm in arm with Ruben, had just completed her walk on the red carpet and used all her skills to linger for 3 minutes. It's true. A super handsome and wealthy man is accompanying her. The assistant was exceedingly jealous. Where did Harmony find such a handsome escort? Achoo. Harmony started sneezing repeatedly the minute she took off her coat and stood in the wind for 10 seconds. Then, she looked at Ezekiel nervously. It's my first time walking the red carpet here, so I'm quite nervous. Ezekiel reached out to her. I'll hold your hand. Harmony placed her hand in his large palm. Her icy fingers surprised the man because he felt as if he was holding an ice stick. Conversely, his warm palm became Harmony's only source of warmth. She instinctively intertwined her fingers with his as he led her onto the stage. At this moment, a few artists from various parts of the world, representing different skin tones, also ascended the stage. Harmony, with her Eastern charm, quickly became the focus of the journalists' cameras as they also wondered who the man beside her was. Several domestic reporters recognized Harmony and hurriedly snapped their shutters. This was a fresh development. A newly awarded actress from Dansbury suddenly appeared on such a prestigious red carpet. It would be a significant topic. They had no doubt that this would make the headlines if this piece of information reached Dansbury. Harmony could feel a sneeze coming on. Yet, she also knew all too well that she couldn't possibly sneeze in front of the journalists' flashing cameras. Otherwise, she would be utterly humiliated. Due to that, she had no choice but to bury her face in Ezekiel's chest as she sneezed. A subtle smile played on Ezekiel's lips. He knew that she was freezing. So, he reached out and took off his own suit jacket before draping it over her. When the high-quality, handmade black suit was worn on the delicate and charming figure of the girl, it instantly created a captivating and endearing scene. Harmony's beauty gained a unique touch before the camera. Plus, the man attentively attending to her also entered the frame. His otherworldly nobility and handsome face exuded an elegant prince-like aura from every angle. Catalina and Ruben, who were standing at the red carpet entrance, stared at the affectionate couple on the red carpet. Their eyes were wide open in disbelief as their brains failed to comprehend just what was going on. So, that's the person Harmony managed to seduce. Ruben gritted his teeth, recognizing Ezekiel. Catalina's breath hitched as she regarded the male specimen before her. She would also love to seduce a handsome and elegant man like him, but who exactly was he? Why had she never seen him before? If he was one of the well-known wealthy second-generation individuals in Dansbury, she should have recognized him the second she laid her eyes on him. Harmony, draped in Ezekiel's warmth-infused suit, had to grip the jacket tightly to prevent it from slipping off her shoulders. So, she couldn't hold the man's arm or hold hands with him. Ezekiel didn't mind it one whit as he decided to take the initiative. His long arm reached out and embraced her, leading her toward the end of the red carpet. Sarah was overjoyed as she watched this scene playing out before her. Finally, her artist had a chance to shine. This was a huge deal for her because she was just like Harmony. When she resigned from her job under Catalina's mother, she had fallen under the category of individuals who were looked down upon in this industry. What shocked Catalina even more was that when Harmony stood there posing for photos, the security guards didn't come up to usher her away. It was as if she could freely linger there. Who gave her that right? Who was that man? Catalina turned to Ruben. Have you seen him before? Ruben's jealous heart clenched as he watched Harmony in the man's embrace, displaying a gentle and obedient demeanor that made him uneasy. I don't know who he is, Ruben replied. Although he was considered handsome in the entertainment industry, he seemed to fall short in front of this man. Let's go. Let's go inside. I need to know just who he is, Catalina uttered and turned away begrudgingly. The show was held inside, and Catalina managed to get a seat in the third row after pulling various strings. She wondered if Harmony would enter as well. If Harmony was going to attend the show, which row would she be in? Just as she was preoccupied with such thoughts, Ezekiel had led Harmony Indiana. The warmth within the venue, coupled with a faint whiff of fragrant scent in the air, could easily make one relax. Harmony took off Ezekiel's suit and handed it back to him. "Thank you, Mr. Weiss." He took the suit and hung it over his arm. He looked exceptionally stylish in his dark-colored shirt. "You're welcome." Ezekiel smiled. When a staff member approached, he simply stated his name. The staff immediately led them to the centermost position respectfully. Harmony took a look around as she followed Ezekiel to their designated seats. When she got a good look at the people around her, she was dumbstruck. The people sitting on both sides were either international top celebrities or founders of major brands. This was not a spot for an insignificant celebrity like her. It was a gathering of industry leaders. Unfortunately, Catalina and Ruben were seated directly across from her. Naturally, they were furious when they saw Harmony's seating arrangement. Harmony was sitting in the front row and was surrounded by international top figures on both sides. How did she get such treatment? When she lifted her head, she noticed Catalina and Ruben seated directly across from her. She chose to ignore them and straightened her posture. Meanwhile, the one seated beside Ezekiel seemed to know him. In fact, they had proactively shook hands and started engaging in conversation with him. At the same time, they introduced him to those around them. Several influential figures also came over to shake hands with him. The situation looked as if Ezekiel was the influential figure in their midst. It was true. Ezekiel's status surpassed theirs. Catalina felt her heart race as she watched Ezekiel opposite her. She was eager to get to know him. There wasn't even a need to compare the man she had brought with her and the man sitting next to Harmony. The two men weren't even on the same level. Her sense of superiority vanished and was replaced by a feeling of being utterly humiliated by Harmony. When someone handed a wine glass, Ezekiel took it and handed it to Harmony. She was surprised but readily accepted it. At that moment, someone held their glass in front of him. The industry leaders were here to clink their glasses with him. They seemed to be treating Harmony as a guest of honor. Harmony felt her heart pumping furiously. As these big shots smiled and raised a toast to her, Harmony felt dumbfounded, but she pretended to be calm. She started wondering once more who this Mr. Weiss really was. Once the guests had all arrived, the runway began at 4:30 p.m. Harmony had only heard of this fashion show before. The famous and powerful of all nations took pride in being able to watch this fashion show. Anyone who could show up here would make it to the headlines back in their homeland, and it was enough material for the media to pick up for a while. After the lights were dimmed, Harmony felt a bit more at ease. She stole a glance at the man beside her. The light was shining on his face, and his profile was so perfect that it was captivating. He was regal yet aloof. Harmony was still staring, and the guy had turned his attention from the runway to her, and their eyes met. Harmony felt her heart skipping a beat, and then she put on a stiff smile. Ezekiel smiled as well, and he turned from an aloof gentleman into a warm and welcoming guy. Harmony felt her heart getting tickled by something, and butterflies fluttered in her stomach. She turned her attention back to the runway, watching the mesmerizing models. She dashed her earlier thoughts. There are a ton of pretty women in this world. I'm nothing compared to them. I was just lucky Mr. Weiss wanted to help me. All I have to feel is gratitude. Nothing else. Or else I'd be getting myself into a rut. Even though she was only 23 years old, Harmony had gone through too much, and she saw through society's true colors. She knew the unwritten rules and knew how to protect herself. For example, men like Ezekiel were good to admire from afar, but if she got too close, she would be burned. Catalina didn't even bother with the show. She was staring at Ezekiel, watching his every move and expression. She hid her love within. She'd ignored Ruben, and Ruben knew she was watching another guy, but he had no right to be jealous. Catalina could dump him anytime she wanted. He tried to put an arm around Catalina's shoulder, but Catalina smacked his hand away subtly, much to his annoyance. His attention was on Harmony, of course. For the first time, he thought she radiated the air of a princess. Is it because of her seat tonight? Or is it because a ton of big shots are around her, so she looks more regal? Tonight, Ruben saw Harmony in a new light, and his heart was beating with desire. More than before, for he had never gotten his hands on Harmony. Harmony covered her mouth and yawned. She still felt cold. Just when she was going to rub her nose, someone draped a suit over her. It was Ezekiel's, and it was warm. She softly said, "Thank you." "Don't catch a cold," answered Ezekiel gently. "Yeah." Harmony smiled. Her makeup looked lively that night, and she looked like a blooming flower in summer when she smiled. Something stirred within Ezekiel when she smiled. Her looks are my cup of tea. Especially her twinkling eyes. Her eyes were clear and innocent when she wasn't smiling, but whenever she smiled, they would look like moons, captivating and attractive. Her lips were like luscious petals of flowers, attracting the sight of those who saw them. Ezekiel was still reliving the kisses last time. He wanted more. "Any plans for tonight?" Ezekiel asked, huddling closer. It was a sign he wanted to ask her out. Harmony knew that. She blinked and said honestly, "No, can you come to a ball with me?" Then, asked Ezekiel. "What ball?" asked Harmony curiously. Ezekiel pointed at the runway. "The ball for this fashion show. I know you'll love it." Harmony's eyes went wide. "What? He wants me to go to the ball for this show? That ball has even more stringent rules than the show. Only the cream of the crop can get in. Not even people like Catalina can get that chance." Harmony felt a little nervous, but she nodded. "Okay, I'll do it." Ezekiel winked, his eyes filled with delight. Catalina watched in envy, and she almost clenched her fists. She saw how Ezekiel started the conversation with Harmony, and they were huddled close, whispering. She didn't like how close they were standing together. She thought Harmony would try to please Ezekiel, but she did no such thing. All she did was sit there like a serious student. Ruben didn't bother with the show either. He too was having the same feelings as Catalina. He cursed himself for not being born strong enough, or he would take Harmony back. The hour was up, and time struck 5:30 p.m. When the lights came back on, everyone snapped out of the dreamy show and landed in reality. Most people wanted to see more, like Harmony. She would love to watch the show even if it went on for 2 more hours. This was a masterpiece. "Want to have dinner together?" Ezekiel asked, standing up. Sarah was still outside, so Harmony declined. "Sorry, I can't. I have to see my manager." Ezekiel wasn't angry his offer was declined. He admired her bravery in saying no. After all, no woman would say no to him if he asked them out for dinner. Harmony took the suit off and handed it back to Ezekiel. "Here's your suit, Mr. Weiss. I'll go out now. It's cold outside. You wear this." Ezekiel was in no hurry to take it back. Harmony was concerned. "No. I'm fine. You're not wearing a lot either, so you watch out for the flu." Ezekiel worked out a lot, and his body was chiseled. He draped the suit over Harmony's shoulders. "You can give this back to me after you see your manager. Now let's go." Ezekiel walked with her and came out of the runway's venue. A ton of reporters surrounded them. Harmony and Ezekiel looked perfect together. The reporters back in their home nation quickly took photos. Catalina and Ruben came out, stiff smiles on their faces. Even the order of who came out of this door had unwritten rules written all over it. The people who came out first were higher in the hierarchy of power. Sarah had been buffeted by the icy winds out there for an hour, but she was happy to do so. When she saw Ezekiel and Harmony coming out together, she grinned and walked up to them. "Thank you very much, Mr. Weiss. It's all thanks to you that Harmony gets to join this show." Harmony took the suit off and handed it back to Ezekiel. "Here, wear this. It's windy out here." Sarah quickly draped a down jacket around Harmony's shoulders. Once Harmony wore the jacket, Ezekiel wore his suit. He looked at the assistant and bodyguards standing nearby, and he told Harmony, "Give me your phone." Harmony was surprised, but she unlocked her phone and gave it to him anyway. Ezekiel called his number. Once the call went through, he handed the phone back to Harmony. "See you tonight." "See you tonight." Harmony waved at Ezekiel. Ezekiel nodded at Sarah before he left. Sarah felt her soul getting captivated. Surprised, she said, he's handsome and polite. Rich people are really well-mannered." Harmony saw Ezekiel off. He was still outstanding, even among the crowd. Sarah snapped out of it. "Oh, you guys said, 'See you tonight.' Are you guys going somewhere?" "He asked me to join the fashion show's ball," said Harmony. Sarah clapped her hand to her mouth just to stop herself from screaming. "What? The ball? You get to go? My goodness, who is that man, really?" Sarah felt envious of the girl. She is so lucky. They didn't notice Catalina coming closer, and she heard what Sarah said. Angrily, she went up to them. "You think you're good enough to join the ball, Harmony?" Harmony turned around, frowning. Intending to annoy Catalina, she said, "Yeah, I am." "So what?" Sarah wanted to get back at her for the humiliation she suffered, and she snorted. "What? Just because you can't go doesn't mean Harmony can't. She just proved it." Catalina choked on herself. Her face went red, but she held back her fury and asked, "Who was that guy?" "Why should I tell you?" Harmony scoffed. "Even if you don't tell me, I'll find out who he is eventually." "What did you do to hook up with a guy like that, Harmony?" Catalina asked, her eyes filled with disdain. Sarah snapped, "Mr. Weiss admires her." "Don't slander her name." Reuben sneered. "He admires her?" Back at the hotel, she slept with him like a nympho. What part of her does he admire? Her skills in bed? Harmony's face went red. She couldn't believe Reuben would mock her like that. They had a past together. Now she knew there was no need to explain the thing that happened back at the hotel. "You guys slept together?" Catalina asked, jealousy flowing from her eyes. Harmony's a grown woman. As long as she doesn't break the law, she can do whatever she wants for her love life. "It's none of your business," Sarah retorted. Harmony held Sarah's arm. "Let's go, Sarah." Catalina saw them off furiously. She turned to Reuben. They actually got it on? They were kissing like horn dogs back at the hotel's entrance. "I bet they did," said Reuben. Catalina stomped her foot. What part of her is so good? Why'd he fall for her? Reuben knew Catalina was being jealous. She would love to take Harmony's place if she could. Annoyed, he said, "What's so good about that guy?" Harmony and Sarah got out of the throng and took a break at a nearby coffee shop. Once they took their seats, Sarah asked, "Are you hiding something from me, Harmony?" "Did you and Mr. Weiss really?" Harmony's cheeks burned. She quickly denied, "No, we did nothing." "Well, it was just a kiss." "You guys kissed?" Sarah was surprised. It was back at the hotel. "I wanted to get Reuben mad, so when Ezekiel opened his door, I kissed him," said Harmony shyly, holding her head. "Oh, I see. So, Ezekiel does have feelings for Harmony. She kissed him, that's why." "And? Did he get mad?" Sarah wanted details. Harmony shook her head. "He didn't get mad. He even kissed me back." Harmony's cheeks burned up more. "Whoa, that's spicy." "No wonder he's so nice to you," said Sarah, a little envious. "Sarah, he might be nice to me, but don't get any ideas." "Nothing more will happen," said Harmony. "Oh, someone's calm for once. You aren't even crushing for a guy like Mr. Weiss?" Sarah teased. "I just know my place." Harmony rested her chin on her hand.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.